America seems to have been on a bit of a downward slide, but it is not too late to turn this train around. In his new book, The Comeback, Gary Shapiro, head of the Consumer Electronics Association, details how returning innovation to its rightful place in America can reinvigorate our great free market so that we can lead the world once again. Here to give us hope this morning is Gary, joining us from Washington, D.C. Hello there, Gary.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Thank you.
Hey, we could all use a little hope, couldn't we?
Yes, we can.
Well, first, let's talk a little bit about the reasons we're in this position. Why has America fallen into such a downward spiral?
Well, like any great country in history, we've gotten lazy and arrogant, and we've spent too much money, and we think that our greatness for the last 100 years comes from above, and we can do no wrong. And,
right.
you know, we're believing our own press releases, essentially. And that's the rest of the world is woken up, and they're competing against us. And we have to recognize it's a fierce competition that's going on.
It sure
and
is.
like, well, any business... So we're like a business. We have to have a plan. And frankly, our nation has no plan. And I am saying here's what we should be talking about, and here's a way out of this mess.
Well, tell us what that way out is. How can we climb out?
Well, like any business, what you do with a plan is you look at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's called a SWOT analysis. And our strength is the American people. We're diverse. We're immigrant culture. We always think we can do it better. We came here for a better life. We've sacrificed. We have a First Amendment which encourages us to do things. We're the only country in the world where you can start a business and fail, and it's not like embarrassing. It's something which is a badge of experience. So we have to build all that. Plus, we're innovators and creators. We have the best internet companies in Hollywood, in the music industry, in medical, and bio, and technology. We are so good in so many ways. We're the envy of the world, so we have the best companies in the world here. So how do we focus on those strengths and encourage innovation? Well, we need good schools. We need to attract the best and the brightest. We need to make sure we have a free trade culture with other countries, and that's what we should be focusing on.
Well, why do you think innovation is so important?
Well, with the financial challenge we face, because we're so much in the hole financially, we have three choices. We could raise taxes, we can cut spending, or we could grow.
Right.
Now, probably all three are required in some way, but to me, growth is necessary. And right now we're a slow growth country compared to others, but growth requires innovation. So we have to foster innovation. We have to get our kids into science and math and IT. We have to make sure K through 12 education improves. And we have to also import some innovation by getting the best and the brightest from around the world to attend our universities and then stay here once we educate them. That's what we've traditionally done, but we kind of changed after September 11th.
Absolutely. Well, that's really the history. I mean, so now we're kind of creating a new history, don't you think?
We have to create a new history. We have to challenge our policymakers to say, look, you can't do everything. You can't have two unwinnable wars, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, cash for clunkers, first-time home buyers, stimulus packages, bailouts, now health care for everyone, and say that we're making tough decisions.
Right, exactly.
We have spent our kids' legacy. It's over. There's nothing left for them. And we're the only generation in history in America that's done that. All our parents and their grandparents sacrificed for us, and sadly, we've stolen from our children. Shame on us. Let's change.
Let's change. And what kind of support do we need for our, for this change to occur? What do you think as far as support goes?
We need the American people to hold our government accountable, Republicans and Democrats, and say this is unacceptable. We have to focus on our kids rather than ourselves. We can't have 50% of America getting a check from the government. We can't have an entitlement society that goes on forever. We're out of revenue. We're out of food and butter, and we got to start making some more.
Right.
It's as simple as that. This isn't rocket science.
No.
This is just a strategy for our country, and there's nothing more important. When we have kids dying in Iraq and Afghanistan, shame on us sitting in our armchairs and doing nothing to sacrifice and instead demanding our entitlements.
You're right.
What have we become?
It is an entitled society. I agree with you. And because we live in a democracy, we should be able to start realizing that it's important to exercise our options, which are to speak up and do something about what we feel.
Absolutely. We have to exercise our democratic rights and say there's a problem here. Stop basically promising us silver bullet solutions. You know, the Republicans say waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, come on, they've been saying that for 40 years, and the Democrats just keep adding things. We want a different type of legislator in there that's willing to realize that we have to prioritize, balance our budget, invest in our future and our kids, whether it's infrastructure or education. We got to do what's right and stop this silliness where we're just deluding ourselves and the rest of the world is going to pass us by.
Right. And what do you think Congress can do to support business and innovation?
Congress can do a lot. They could change our immigration laws to focus on getting the best and the brightest and the entrepreneurs here.
Okay.
They can enter free trade agreements. We're the only country in 4 years that hasn't entered an agreement. The rest of the world's passing us by. They can focus on a wireless broadband future and take back some of the spectrum that's being wasted, frankly, and sell it so that others can invest in it, and they can protect our entrepreneurs and foster an entrepreneur environment and get, you know, maybe export some lawyers, frankly. We have too many of them. We don't need them. They're a tax on all businesses. We can't afford it anymore. It's over. So we have to start waking up, being honest adults, and have the dialogue that frank Americans have always had and focus on the future.
Great advice, and I appreciate your help, and I think that as people read The Comeback, maybe they can realize how they can make a difference to give America the comeback that we need. Gary Shapiro, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me on.